Okay, it looks like we're going. Welcome to episode 2 of the Grant House. And I'm going to be discussing the second article that was published in MUFON. And let's see, when was that? Get the light where I can see it. This is the May 2022 one. Anyway, that's the one I think I'm doing. See, where'd we go with that? Yeah, it's about time. So, in this article, I was looking for enough time for lost civilizations to occur and for megalithic architecture and huge stonework to be done, and then the people who did it have time to vanish completely. And so I started out with this quotation from the writings, and I've been researching writings of a little-known Eastern religion, somewhat mystical. Most people have never heard of it. But the purpose I'm doing this is so people interested in ufology will know that these writings exist. That's the point. So here we go with a quote from them. "We cannot say, then, that there was a time when man was not. At most we can say there was a time when this earth did not exist, and that at the beginning man was not present upon it." Wait a minute. We cannot say then that there was a time when man was not. But at the beginning of the earth, man was not present upon it. Okay. Now that opens the door for a lot of questions which are beyond the scope of just finding out how much time we are dealing with here while man, whatever that is, has been around. So I went on looking for another quote, hoping to take it just step by step, and I stumbled across this one. Quote, "As to thy question concerning the origin of creation, know assuredly that God's creation hath existed from eternity, and will continue to exist forever. Its beginning hath no beginning, and its end knoweth no end. His name, the Creator, presupposeth a creation, even as his title, the Lord of Men, must involve the existence of a servant." Okay, that's confirming what was in the other one. That not only does it go back billions and billions of years, but it goes back forever before that. Now, these writings have an origin story that is eternal. That's a little different than most of the origin stories that we hear. And again, now I'm not trying to get anybody to believe anything that these writings say. I don't care what you think. But it's important, if you're looking for lost civilizations, to have some independent third party have your back, saying that there's plenty of time for these things to have happened. More time than we need. And that's just what I think they're saying. In the article I wrote, I said, the door to numerous complex possibilities had just been ripped off its conventional hinges, shall we say. And that's what that does. There are a lot of religions that talk about God being infinite, but when you really get to digging into it, what that means is we have an infinite amount of time to account for regarding civilizations of various sorts. Now here's another quotation. And this one is, somebody could say that, well, yes, maybe they're not talking about modern humans or people with modern brains and things like that. Here's another quote from those writings. "God hath raised up prophets and revealed books as numerous as the creatures of the world, and will continue to do so to everlasting. That's a lot of religions. That's a lot of prophets. That's a lot of revealed books. That's more religions than I can name. I don't know about you, but I can name a few, several, a bunch maybe, but not that many. And then there's another quotation about cycles of time. And this is getting right to the nitty-gritty. When a cycle comes to a close, a new one is inaugurated, and the previous cycle, on account of the momentous events which transpire, vanishes so entirely from memory as to leave behind no record or trace. Life on this earth is very ancient, not 1 or 200,000 or even 1 or 2 million years old. It is ancient indeed, and the records and traces of ancient times have been entirely obliterated. Each of the manifestations of God has likewise a cycle wherein his religion and his law are in full force and effect. When his cycle is ended through the advent of a new manifestation, a new cycle begins. And then there's another quote which sort of fleshes this out. It says here, quote, "Know thou that the absence of any reference to them," and that's referring to prophets before Adam, "is no proof that they did not actually exist. That no records concerning them are now available should be attributed to their extreme remoteness, as well as to the vast changes which the earth hath undergone since their time." So these verses are describing a long duration of events and numerous messages that would be irrelevant if there were not someone around to hear them and respond to them. So what this is saying is when a tree fell in those forests, somebody heard it. See what else they have to say. Another quotation from these writings. "Witness to the holy tradition," and then the holy tradition is also in quotation marks, "before all else, God created the mind," close quotes. Back to the writings quotation in which that is included. I'll read the whole thing. "Witness to it is the holy tradition, before all else God created the mind. From the dawn of creation, it was made to be revealed in the temple of man." So we found that there are cycles going back a long, long ways, lots and lots and lots of prophets and revealed books, and the mind of man is one of the earliest things created. In fact, it may be in here in another one, so let me look. As the divine entity is eternal, the divine attributes are coexistent and co-eternal. The divine bestowals are therefore without beginning and without end. God is infinite. The works of God are infinite. The bestowals of God are infinite. So all of these verses taken together pretty much blow apart any timeline that we learned in school, any timeline that science is trying to figure out. Because even if there was a Big Bang and they figured out how many billions ago that Big Bang may have occurred, there were other things occurring in other dimensions in an infinite universe that is infinitely old. So there's plenty of time to find your lost civilization, and anything might be found anywhere at any time. Let's see. I suggest that many religions overlook the implication of an infinite supreme being having an infinite creation. That perspective changes the dynamics surrounding a lot of iconic events. Adam and Eve, etc., on this planet. They may be the first, I don't know whether that's metaphorical or real, they may be talking about the first Homo sapiens becoming self-aware at some point. But throughout all of these writings, I'm being very careful between the distinction between man or mankind and humans, because all wolves are canines, but all canines are not wolves. You know, mankind, I think, includes a lot more than what we call modern humans. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Now what I'm doing is I'm pretty much just leaving out the commentary that I put in the article and discussing with you just the quotations from these writings. Given the above quotations that man predates Earth, ancient civilizations are very probably out there. And E.T. may well be our own ancient family, sculpted from various environments over the eons. We don't know. Don't take my word for anything. Who knows at this point? So I'm going to have another article or two that investigates what man is. And I think that one was called Who in the Universe is Man? And I think we'll get to that in a little while. And then I end the article with a couple more quotations, because this was written a year ago, and times were tough then, and they're just as tough now, only different. So the quote is, God's greatest gift to man is that of intellect or understanding. And this one has big implications all over the place, this next one. The diversity in the human family should be the cause of love and harmony, as it is in music, where many different notes blend together in the making of a perfect chord. If you meet those of different race, think of them as different colored roses growing in the beautiful garden of humanity, and rejoice to be among them. Now, this channel is for ufologists and people who already want to know more about UFOs and cryptids and ancient archaeology. And of course, that's talking about the equality of the human race. Ye are all the leaves of one tree and the fruit of one branch is another quotation that's not in this article. But if we think that we are going to make contact with E.T. and we're just going to get along great, well, getting along great with the other humans on this planet may be a prerequisite to actually contacting E.T. or them allowing us to contact them, because they're watching what we do. So there you go. That's the second episode for the Grant House. And you know, I'm not good with this technology yet. I will probably never be. And so I've got like 10 articles written, and I think the 10th one is yet to be submitted. And there might be a white paper or two that I could cut apart, but they're going to be very similar. The articles actually grew out of the white papers. So if there's something new in there, I may do them. But so rather than thinking of this as like a YouTube channel where there's going to be something new every day, eventually when I get a bunch of things on here, it's going to be more like a series that you can binge or come back and look at. And likewise, I'm going to give you the links to where I found these writings, so that if you have something you want to research, you can go there and look it up for yourself. So there you go. Thanks for being here, and until next time, I'm Grant House. Thank you.